My name is Brianna, but I go by Bree. I'm 30 years old, and when I was 2.5 months old, my birth mother put me in a crib to go to sleep, and she was watching my 8-month-old twin cousins, and they found something to catch the crib on fire. We're not exactly sure what, but everyone got out. My crib burned, the wall beside me burned, and the blanket melted to my back, and Booty melted to my feet. So due to that, I lost both my legs, lost the fingers on my left hand. I am burned to 2nd and 3rd degree burns. The biggest part for me growing up was people asking, oh, you forgive, oh, this and that. Yes, I forgive. But the hardest part for me is never knowing exactly what happened. And it just really ate me up. Because come to find out, when I went to the hospital about to have surgery for my burns, my birth mother said it's okay to go ahead and cut her feet off and her fingers off because they'll grow back. And if you know, body parts don't grow back. Once they're gone, they're gone. Well, fast forward a few years, I was adopted by Elaine Spivey back here in the back. Yeah. I've had over 43 surgeries and have to have 2 more. One on my hand to relieve the scars, and then another one on my right leg. They have to go in and do stump revision on it. The one on my wrist is on the 24th, which I'm a bit nervous about, but looking forward to too, so I'm not in any more pain. In high school, jump a few years, high school, I did track and field. At first, I wasn't allowed to do it because they're like, oh, you're in a wheelchair, you can't do it. Oh, you can't do this, oh, no. So I used a racing chair, and I got out there, and I was going around the track, and then they're like, man, we could really use you. So I said, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. So I practiced with the team after school and during 4th block for several weeks, and then I did my first race.
Oh.
And that was fun. The other team, they stood up instead of putting me down, said, oh, boo, boo, which I was nervous about. They all stood up and they clapped for me and cheered me on. So that boosted my confidence. And then I made it through the first cut, then the second cut. Come through the 3rd cut was at LSU Baton Rouge. Got out there, was nervous, scared, because it was a huge track. Get out there and come to find out that I hold the Louisiana title for wheelchair at 400 and 800 meters. Because I broke it. I still hold it, and I say, if someone ever breaks it, I'm going to have to go back and go and do it again. I want to keep that for as long as I can.
Right.
So right now, I still have it.
Right.
I've always been around people that kind of put me down, and I thought I found a good group of friends, but they were not what I consider friends, because they were like, oh, do some weed, yeah, it's good for you. Oh, take this pill, oh, it's good for you. So, me being me, trying to fit in, I did it. A few years later, I met my son's dad, and he was the same way. Oh, do this, you can do this. Oh, do this, do this, do this, do this. And a lot of people don't know that he was abusive to me. He was one of those that's very manipulative. Oh, if you do this, I'll love you forever. And me being me, I'm like, oh, a dude loves me, cool. Right. And so once I got pregnant with my son, he vanished. And so I'm left with a decision, okay, do I raise my son by myself, being a single mom, or do I put him up for adoption? And I was like, I'm not going to do adoption. I'm going to raise him. So I kept him. It was a hard pregnancy. Very tough, very hard, very long, very emotional, and very draining. But I kept him, and he's 7. He's the light of my world. He's so amazing. And I have my mother to thank for that, and my father to thank, because if it was not for them, I would still be out there doing what I have to do, drinking, smoking, you name it, I would still be doing it, and just not caring about anyone. And finally, after I had my son, I found the right group of friends that are like, oh, you don't need to do that. Let's go to church. Because I stopped going to church. I was like, oh, whatever. God's not going to let, no. So I pushed them to the back, and so I started hanging out with this good group of friends, and they encouraged me to go to church, encouraged me to, oh, don't give up just because people, you know, talk about you for being burned. Give them something to talk about. So me being me, I have to show out. So they like always helped me, always encouraged me instead of sitting there and discouraging me, telling me, oh, you can't do this because you're in a wheelchair. They're like, oh, she's in a wheelchair, but you live on the second floor. Oh, don't even help her up. She gonna crawl up the stairs. They're like, no, don't touch her. Don't do this. Let her do it. And they always encourage me to figure out a way to do something to where I can do it. Now I'm so extremely grateful for them.
Oh. Oh.
Yay! Yay!
You did good, Bree.
Thank you.